Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday to you. Happy May to everyone. Welcome to Candid Conversations, another great Saturday show. Candid Conversations with K and K. I am Kimberly Ann Coleman, and next to me in royal blue, I believe that's royal blue again, is my purple in
It
royal
is.
purple, being the queen that she is Karen of K Renee's Nuggets. K Renee, how are you this morning?
Good morning, my podcasting sister. Happy Saturday to you and happy Saturday to our viewing audience. And as Kim mentioned, this is May meaning power. So be able, as this month, to exude your power with the corresponding color, which is purple. And I know all of us love purple for those who love a certain artist who is playing his guitar somewhere in the heavens. But just wanted to say good morning to each and every one of you as we celebrate mothers. And I'm looking so forward to our guests this morning because they're just a special breed. They're just special because they give unconditional love when sometimes we don't deserve it. But it's nice to know that we have women in our life who exude that maternal influence and just give so much love. So I'm looking forward again to talking about moms and talking with our guests. So I know we got a lot to talk about because a lot of things have happened since we were last on the air last
Yeah.
week. So let's get
Well,
started.
first of all, we want to recognize a few things. The first thing is we want to say a blessed Eid to our and the people who are some of our guests who are in the blue room. I see you. Hey, mom. We want to say a blessed Eid to our Muslim friends. This is the end of Ramadan. It is a blessed season for them. So we
Yeah.
want to say a blessed Eid to all of them. We also want to congratulate the 2022 graduates. I was
Yes.
just watching the Howard University commencement. They were recognizing Taraji P. Henson, who was the commencement speaker. If you have never seen an HU graduation, it is amazing. They sing a song that I love at the end of graduation, and it's called "Lord, I Done Done."
All
Lord,
right.
I done what you told me to do. And
All
so
right.
that's the so I know you have a graduate in your family.
Yes, yes. I mean, always to all our graduates, whether they kindergarten, grammar school, high school, and college. But there's one young lady that has gone through it. She understood the assignment, and she will be graduating, I believe, in a few days. So to Miss Chloe Danielle Jones, who is graduating from North Carolina AT&T and Aggie, and also HBCU. Congratulations, Chloe. I know your mom, your dad, your grandma, and your auntie and nieces and nephews, they're just so proud of you. I know I still have some other cousins who are going to HBCUs who are still in school, so could stay in school. So we can definitely honor you when it's your time. But again, congratulations to all 2022 graduates because it's been,
And
here's the deal. When we were coming out, we didn't have a pandemic. So to
mhm.
come to graduate, come this far and achieve your academic goals despite what we're going through, that's an achievement in of itself.
Right.
So
The Howard University president mentioned that this morning. I
mhm.
have a graduate. My nephew is graduating from high school. Cortland
Woo-hoo.
Alexander Coleman.
Yay.
He is graduating. I was telling Karen earlier, I remember when we came down here, mom remembers this for his kindergarten graduation. And that just seemed like that was just yesterday. And so now he's graduating from high school. He's going to further his studies here in Oklahoma at OCCC Junior College. And we want to recognize people. I have a cousin who just in Arizona who's getting her degree, and not a degree, but a certificate in what is it, air conditioning and heating.
We
She
need
was the
that.
only
We need
Yeah,
that.
she's the only of two in her class, the only two black people in her class, and the only woman. the only woman. So,
Wow.
those who are getting certificates in electricity and plumbing and those type of things who won't have student loans, shout
Okay.
out. Shout
Amen.
out to
That's right.
you.
Because
That is awesome.
we need all that and then some. So again,
Right. So we
you know,
don't,
and
every
here's
college
the,
is not for everyone.
right.
I'm a witness to that. And, we just want to just send a special shout out to those people. We also want to say this is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
I don't know if we're going to talk about this later. Karen and I watched a very hard red table talk of the mother of the young woman that committed suicide. She was Miss USA
Miss USA
in
Chelsea Chris.
2020, I believe.
No, well, she did that earlier this year, but
She did it
yes,
earlier, but
Chelsea.
she was Miss USA when?
It was 2020. Chelsea Chris,
Okay, and somebody that just had it all, law degree,
NBA,
MBA,
gorgeous,
graduate, gorgeous,
gorgeous. Let's
um,
put that there.
Entertainment Tonight, Emmy nominated. And her note says she felt like she didn't have a place in this world. That has haunted me. And we'll talk more about it, and we're going to have an expert on it. But mental illness is real,
It is.
especially during this pandemic. If you need help, get help. We'll have more about this, but we want to acknowledge that. We'll talk more about this again later as my mother comes on. This is Stroke Awareness Month. My mother had a stroke 6 years ago, is thriving. We want to talk about some of the signs of that. We'll have a doctor on later on to talk about that, hopefully. And so we want to say that. And also, as normal, we pray for the people of Ukraine. Dr. Biden is on her way to Ukraine. Dr. Biden, who is the president's wife, is on her way to Ukraine this weekend. We pray for her safe travels. She will be meeting with teachers there. She'll be meeting with I believe the first lady of Ukraine. Is there first? I think there is.
Mm-hmm.
And we pray for her safety and that something will come of that. She will be doing an exclusive interview with Simone Sanders on NBC 4 o'clock Eastern time today that she pre-recorded before she left. So we just want to say all of those things.
Yeah, and you know what
You
today
want to
is
introduce?
also?
I'm
Before we
sorry.
You know what today is also? The Kentucky Derby. Now,
Yeah, I
I'm
started
not,
to wear a hat.
here's the deal. You could have worn your hat because one of my dear friends, she said, I have a hat for you, but you don't wear. I said, I don't wear hats because I don't look good in hats. Now, I know everybody going to say, K. Renee, you just haven't had the right hat. Look, the only hat I put on my head when it's 40 below outside in Chicago, that's the time I put a hat on. And it's not even the fancy smancy hats. It's just a hat, a scarf so I can keep warm. But maybe my podcast assistant will encourage me. We'll go to a millinery shop and try on some hats. Because
Well, let me tell you who can wear a hat, and that is Marietta Coleman.
All
She
right.
and she has a bunch of. She could have Target or Walmart in her closet because I know she got some hats that she hasn't worn. We went to a big Kentucky Derby party years ago, and I think Mom gave me a hat or something. But anyway, I want you to introduce our first guest, and then I'll introduce my mother.
Well, this woman, I'm just very proud of her. I've had the privilege and honor of knowing her for 15 years. She was once a single mom raising her beautiful son, who is my godson. I remember holding this little boy in my arms. And could you believe, Kim, he is 16 years old this year.
Oh,
This woman is an engineer working for one of the biggest insurance agencies in the state, well, in the country. But more importantly, she is a woman of faith. She is a woman of strength, and she just happens to be my girl, Mrs. Keisha Kearns.
Good
yay!
morning,
Did I do okay?
everyone. Hi, guys.
Good
Did I do
morning.
okay, sweetie?
You're my sister.
It is very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. It's a
And
pleasure.
happy Mother's Day to you. Happy
Same
Mother's
to
Day.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
darling.
My mother has left the screen for a minute, so I'll
Okay.
let you, Kay, ask. We're happy to have you this morning,
Yes.
Keisha, and wishing you a happy Mother's Day. tell us about your journey of becoming a mother.
Oh, my journey it was a crazy journey, but pretty much I feel like motherhood is a lifelong journey, really. I got married, had a beautiful son, Harlan, who
Yeah.
I'm so proud of. Um, but being a mom, you're not just a mom, you're an individual, you're a wife, you're an employee or a business owner, you're a sister, you're wearing so many hats. And, you know, for me, motherhood was first.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So when I had challenges in my marriage that I felt would impact my son, such as domestic violence issues,
Yeah.
I decided to step away. And it was a very hard decision because you always at least for me as a mom, I put my son first. So I wanted, of course, both parents to be present. However, what would be the impact to him? And so I had to make a very hard decision. And I became a single mom, was a single mom for 8 years. And Karen's a witness, and she stepped in on numerous occasions to support me because I am from Jamaica. I don't
Okay.
have a lot of relatives here. And I had moved to Chicago with my husband at the time, who became my ex husband. So I knew no one really. And I met Karen through work. She was a colleague, and we became good friends. So the childcare, boy, no one, I kept calling my friends who lived in other places who were moms saying, why didn't anybody tell me about this part? Because, at the end of the day, yes, it's a wonderful experience. But I got to tell you, if you don't have your village, it is an uphill battle. And so I quickly, through experience, through challenges, started to form a village, you know, good friends, even long distance relatives. My aunt would fly in from Jamaica to
Hmm.
support me for years.
Yes.
Several years she did that at a time. Um, Karen stepped in several times. In fact, my son's her godson.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So it definitely is a constant work in progress. I feel like it is a lifelong journey. Yes, Harlan's doing great. He's a straight A student. He's a good human, which was my goal, right?
Hmm.
To try to raise somebody that had empathy, that even, you talked a little bit about Ukraine. When the war initially started, I kept calling him to sit with me and watch the
Hmm.
news and
Hmm.
understand what was going on. And he kept saying, oh, why? What does that have to do with me? And I was like, it has everything to do with you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
just teaching him to care about things that don't immediately impact him,
Right.
because they impact you in some way, shape, or form. So we
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
talked a lot about the cost of gas, groceries, what those families are going through, being separated. We watched a story about three teenagers. The youngest actually was a preteen, 11-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
who journeyed
Yeah,
600 miles
girl.
by
Right.
Yes.
himself. And I
I
was
remember
telling
that
him,
story.
imagine you
Yeah.
doing this with no
Right.
mom or dad, right? So
Hmm.
we often have the conversation because you touched upon mental health. It is so critical. I cannot tell you how many times I've taken therapy, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to say I do it. I do it anytime I feel I need to. When I'm feeling like not 100%, and I tell my son all the time, it is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.
Yes, it is.
Because you're managing yourself, right? We're all out here, but the biggest power is self control,
Yes.
self
Yes.
management.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, especially for single moms. going through, you need that support, and you need, there used to be a stigma. I remember when I first entered therapy about 30 years ago, and I was so scared to tell people, because we don't do that in our community. We go to church and pray, and you keep giving it over to the Lord. That's what we said. But I'm glad that stigma, and I'm glad, thank you, Keisha, for sharing that. I want to bring someone else into this conversation, someone who I have known for 55 plus years, carried me for 9 months. My mother, Marietta Coleman, who I
Happy
told you.
Mother's Day.
Hi, Miss Marietta. Look at that hair.
I
So
love
let me introduce my mother, give her an introduction. As you can see, she's very feisty. My mother was born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, raised in Chicago, attended Crane school, and eventually, after raising all of us, Mom, you got to turn the volume down. After raising all of us, graduated from Governor State University. She played for churches throughout Chicago from teenage years to college. She played for churches with choirs, directed choirs, um, while doing that and raising three wonderful children. Me, of course, being the best. She is now the grandmother of three boys, and she's just a wonderful. She is the anchor of our family. She had a stroke about 6 years ago. Her speech is kind of limited, but she is a fighter. So say hi, Mom.
I'm fine.
You
Yes,
doing
you
good?
are.
Yes.
Good.
I like it.
So,
Yeah.
Mom, if what's the best part about being a mom?
Uh, love. Love.
Love,
Love.
yeah,
Caring.
caring.
you.
Yes.
What's the hardest part? Discipline.
Tell me about it.
Kids stubborn.
Not me.
Don't kill.
See that we got your mom on, Kim. So any stuff that you have, you better keep it secret, because Miss Mariette gonna tell it.
Well, of course, we want to ask Keith a question, but let me just say, my mother had a stroke in November. She had come here to Oklahoma, then flew to Chicago, then flew back to Arizona, and had a stroke that night, and was asleep. It was funny because she slept. I think she was gone during the election when Trump was nominated for president. So when my aunt went to go visit her, she said she gonna be in for a rude awakening when she wakes up. But she did, and what I can say about my mother's strength, I went down there that Thanksgiving after she had the stroke, and Mom got up, had that walker, and was walking around that pool, and I knew she was gonna be okay. I knew she was gonna be okay. So, Karen, did you have a question for Keisha?
Well, Keisha, I love you thoroughly. We've been through the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. And the one thing that has been always consistent, you are one of the most bravest mothers I've ever seen.
Yes.
And normally I always ask this question, but I believe I know the answer. But besides Harlan, who inspires you, my dear, to be the best Keisha Kearns this universe has ever seen? Who inspires you?
Life. Believe it or not. So you inspire me. My family members inspire me. My son inspires me. Life inspires me. Sometimes I look at experiences I had that were not the best, that I've taken and turned it and decided, you know what? I'm going to make sure my son doesn't have this experience. And so, one of the things I try to do with him, I grew up in a strict home environment. So I raised Harlan with
Okay.
free will, free to
Mhm.
speak, free to challenge, free to advocate for himself. But I would say that I'm just inspired by my village, the strong woman. Karen, you're brave as well. I've witnessed, I've had the privilege of witnessing you make very tough decisions, of you supporting your family, your dad, your uncle. I've been there and saw the sacrifices you made as well. And so it inspires me. All of that pours into me. All of it.
You don't want now. You gonna make me do the ugly cry? Don't do that. Not today.
It's the truth. It's the truth. It's
Not
the
today,
truth.
baby.
Well, Mom, who inspires? You had a village. Keisha talks about, um, and I'm sorry for the feedback, you all. Keisha talks about, how she had to build her village. You really had a village, right, Mom? Darling, Grandma, Kit,
Kid,
all of those
all those
people.
people. You,
Uh,
you.
oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of those people.
Yeah.
Is that who you learned from, Mom, to be a mom?
Kid, kid, kid.
Kit, my aunt Kit, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All of those people taught you the lessons.
Yes.
But
Yes.
also in our family, Mom made sure we went to. This is the wonderful thing about Mom. She made sure we went to church.
Yes.
She made sure we went to all the museums. We
Yes.
went to sleep on Mozart and Beethoven school. We met with Mozart and Beethoven. One of the greatest memories I have growing up was my Uncle Roy had taken my parents to go see the Wiz. And was at Jury Lane?
Yeah.
And Mom told my father, these kids have to go see this. So I'm sure they scraped up their little money. And we had seventh row tickets. My youngest brother wasn't born, to go see the Wiz. And Mom dropped us off there, made sure we were in our seats. She made sure we had culture.
Yes.
We went to Alvin. We knew about opera. So, besides the church and school, she made sure we were well-rounded kids.
Yeah. Freak. Sick.
Yes.
To think. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sick.
She wanted us to think. Yep.
Now, as a mother, I have to ask both of you, because see, my beautiful mom, who is with me here, was one of the best cooks in the Midwest. So let's talk about the food, because you can tell that both of us, we eat very well. And I know Miss Keisha can cook like nobody's business. What is your favorite dish to cook?
Okay. I don't know, Kim.
Mom really didn't like. She was a good cook. Mom wasn't really bullish on cooking. Daddy's really likes to cook more.
Yes.
But
Okay.
yes.
But
But
Keisha,
we had nutritious meals,
okay.
and but Mom wasn't bullish on cooking, and now not at all.
Okay, I got it. You don't need to now. Now, but Keisha,
What about you, Keisha? What
oh,
is your
So
go-to?
okay, I'm gonna give you, it's a couple. So Harlan loves my curry chicken. So I cook that like I would make eggs almost every other day. Because that's his favorite. Curry chicken and dumplings. But my husband, I'm remarried, he loves my oxtail.
oh God,
Oh
yes.
wow.
Love it.
So I made him so much oxtails during the pandemic, he gained 40 pounds. Okay. So
That's
we're
good.
backing off the oxtails for now.
Okay, I understand.
But I love to cook. I think if I didn't work in IT, I probably would have some type of a lifestyle program where I'm cooking every day. I love to cook.
Wow.
Yes,
Mom, what is your advice? You always love giving advice to young mothers and young wives. And I know, but I know, you give good advice, and people really have leaned on your advice. What is your advice to young mothers?
Um, patience, patience, loving, discipline,
Discipline,
discipline, discipline. Uh, I like it, like it.
pray.
Pray. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
That's good advice.
Yes.
What about you,
Thank.
Keisha? Oh, I'm sorry. What we gonna say, Mom?
Okay, you. I
Uh,
think it. Yeah.
okay, okay.
Um, Definitely praying. My son and I actually we went through a long time where we read the Bible together every day. Every day.
Mhm,
We did scripture every day. And it makes me so proud now to watch him
Mhm.
listening and listening to Bible programs and reading the Bible and really drawing closer to God. So I think that's first and foremost. And I always try to help him understand that even if we don't make it to church, you have to give God the honor and the glory. First of all, if you don't give it to him, you can't give it to me. You can't give it to
mhm,
anybody.
Right.
So that's the first thing. What I would say for young moms is self care.
mhm,
Because I went through a period where, and Karen was very much present at that time. I was very focused on motherhood. Like you mentioned a couple things about going to the museums and all. That's what I did with Harlan. The weekends was about him, the museums, the aquarium, the circus, you name it. I just poured into him, but I neglected myself.
Mhm.
And then one day I looked up and I was like, who are you? Because I really didn't, some years had passed and I just didn't take care of myself in the way I should have. So I would say take time, even if it's an hour, just to do something for yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I think Mom really, she had poured so much into us, and then she decided to go back to school and get her degree to have something of her own. And so she taught at Gwendolyn Brooks and Harvey, and then she went on to teach the special needs kids at home, my former school, home of Flossmoor. And so she had an identity outside of the house.
Right.
And what was really funny to me, you look at your mom and she's mom, she's just mom. So one day I went to the school to see some of her kids, and they were like, "Your mom is so cool." I'm like, "Who are they cool? This, we just love your mom," and it was just so wonderful to hear that about your mother. That she's just so cool. So, and mom believes in self care. She will go to a spa at the drop of a hat.
I love it.
Like it.
Before we close with you, the two of you, what is your favorite scripture?
Mm.
What is your favorite scripture?
I, you want me? Well, mom's is Proverbs 3, 5, 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not into your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him. You right, Mom?
Yes. Yes.
And Keisha?
Yes.
I have a few, but I always go back to the 23rd Psalm
Hmm.
because there were times when I felt despair, and that scripture really brought me through.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we want to say happy Mother's Day to you all. Mom already got her gift. Keisha, we want to hope that you have a wonderful weekend. This is Mom's weekend, not
Thank
just
you.
Mother's Day. And Mom, did you have anything else you wanted to say besides the fact that you have the best daughter in the world?
Starbucks Kim Bucks.
Yeah, I get her Starbucks gift card. And she could probably buy a small cup of coffee with, because Starbucks is about $50 a cup. But I just want to say, Mom, you and I talk, but I just want to thank you for being a wonderful mother. I am not a mother, but I hope that I bring joy to the children that I come across, as you have been the best mother a daughter can have.
Mm.
I tried. I
You
tried.
did a good job.
It's a pleasure. Yes.
Happy
Oh,
Mother's Day.
oh,
Happy
thank you
Mother's
so much, Miss
Day.
Marietta. Thank you. Thank you. And
God
Keisha,
bless you.
I love you. We will definitely be talking before the weekend is out.
Of course, of course. Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
Thank you so
Happy
much.
God
Mother's
bless you.
Day. Enjoy the weekend.
You too,
you.
love. We love you.
Love you guys. I'll talk to you later, Mom.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
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 Oh my goodness.
Bye,
Okay.
sweetie.
Bye bye. Take care.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yay.
So yesterday, Mom was really nervous, and
Oh,
I said, Mom, this is not the Oprah Winfrey show. But she
not,
did.
not yet, anyways.
Yes, but she did good. You did good, Mom. I see that still down there. You did good, Mom. And
You know, here's the funny part. I didn't know your mom went to Crane. Now
yeah, yep,
here's a surreal moment. My
yeah.
mom taught at Crane for how
I
many years?
remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yes, I was like, okay,
Well, I
surreal
should have said
moment.
that her and my dad both went to Crane,
Okay,
but they did not connect until after.
okay.
So my mother asked my father, was he going to prom? And she's just laughing, and he said no. So she had to take some boy from the church or whatever. So imagine her surprise when my father was there with his date packed, and she was just crushed. But later on, when Dad went to the service, and they met at a party with my late Aunt Esther, and the rest, 56 years later,
Mm.
is history. 56 years
Wow,
they've been
wow,
married. July 9th. Yeah,
wonderful. Wow, small
yeah,
world,
yeah,
small world. No, your
yeah. And
mom,
I'm very proud of Mom.
as you should be. And as I shared with you when you had asked that we feature your mom, I said this is in time, Kim. You're gonna look back and say, wow, that was my mommy. That was cool.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, yeah.
cool. Yes, yes, yes,
She's
yes.
she's really, when I there's not one facet of my life that I can look on her and my father. People say, why do you love politics so much? When we were at the dinner table, we had Walter Cronkite on, and
Hmm.
we would talk about it. When we went to go vote, my parents, when they went to go vote, my parents took them with,
Yeah,
we went with them, and then they talk about it. And so
right.
that's me and my brother both. The youngest brother a little bit, but my older, and my youngest brother too. So that's where we get that from. So we anyway,
No,
that's Mommy. So
that's mommy.
anyway,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. You are on Candid Conversations with K and K. I am Kimberly Coleman, aka Sister Girl Speaks. That right next to me in the purple is Karen Renee, K Renee of Karen's Nuggets. So we are having a wonderful Saturday talking about moms. We want to give a special shout out to. Did I mention the Tulsa? I mentioned the Tulsa.
We have not mentioned that yet, but we're mentioning it now.
Right. In 1922, there was a raid in Tulsa that destroyed. There used to be a community there. It was called Greenwood,
Hmm.
and it was destroyed in riots by the whites there. Greenwood was a thriving community. It had black owned hotels, black owned stores. Anything that you can imagine was black owned. And over the course of 2 days, that community was destroyed. If you go to Greenwood now, my Uncle Curtis, my mother's middle brother, had a law firm there.
Mm.
Of course, later on after the riots, but he had a law firm in that area. If you go to that area now, there is a memorial with the names of all the people that died
Oh, wow.
during that massacre. There were three people who are survivors of that massacre. All three of them are in there over 100 years old.
Wow.
Um, and two of them went to go testify to Congress. It was during the pandemic of last year
It was.
to
I
talk
remember.
about getting reparations for them before this. An attorney was on Cross Connection on MSNBC stating that 22 million $22 million were destroyed in that massacre. That was the value of $22 million at that time. Imagine what it would be worth now. Imagine, and
Probably in the billion, not million. It will be probably close to $1
right,
billion. Yes.
right. And so it has gone to court, and now the court is saying to go forward for those people and their relatives to get reparations for what has happened. Many times the argument about reparations is that there are no slaves that are still here. So how can they get reparations? Well, we have three people who are still here.
Hello.
And one of the gentlemen who was about 6 or 7 when that happened, they had a camera on him when he found out that the case was going forward. And he said, I'm going to stay here until they have righted this wrong. He said, if that means I got to live to 120 years old, I'm
So
going to
big.
do it. And so shout out to them for keeping that going. We are owed reparations in this country. We deserve it. We built this joint for free. We built this joint for free.
Sure
And
did.
so kudos to them for that.
Absolutely. You know, we also this week there was a leak in Supreme Court justice. Someone leaked an opinion of the Chief Justice regarding Roe versus Wade. And I'm going to tell you, I ain't happy about that.
Well, that's my candid, so I'm going to leave that until my candid.
But we will allude to that. But I will say this: until a man has a uterus, shut the F up. Until we know that a man anatomically can have a uterus in his body, shut up. What a woman does with her body is her right. Period. And my sister will expound upon that in the Let's Get Candid segment of our broadcast.
And I have a different take on I have the same take as you, but I have a different spin on it, and I will talk about that in a few minutes. I agree with you, but Republicans are not just the only ones to blame for this, and that's my preview to talking about that. You know, we talk about pop culture on this podcast. A very big influencer died this week. A very controversial influence, Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
Many of you all know he had a YouTube show or something. And he was talking about how women, what they needed to do to get a man and all of these things. And a lot of people liked him and his brashness. And to me, it was misogynistic. The irony about that is Kevin Samuels is from Oklahoma City. So many people here, I've seen some of his relatives here. Is you know, if I could just put another spin on this, I know that we live in a news era, and we like to get news fast. His mother found out that he died on social media.
Sad.
Just like Kobe Bryant's wife found out, because I believe TMZ called her house or something like that.
They did.
Everybody needs to slow down.
That's right.
Before you report the news, and I even believe that Katherine Jackson, if her son hadn't have gotten to her, I think it was Jermaine, she would have found out through social media too about Michael. Right. Everybody needs to slow down. I know we want to be the first one, TMZ and all this, but you have to be sensitive to these people's relatives. I would, God, if I found, I found out last night that a young man I've known since he was 5 years old died. I found it out on social media. I'm not one of his relatives, but that shocked me.
Right.
I can't imagine finding out about one of my relatives. So everybody needs to slow down. Slow down. Stop chasing the money. Money will come.
Well, but see, you gotta remember too, and I'm not playing devil's advocate when I say this. We got inflation like we've never seen before. Even though 11 million open jobs are out there, folks can't find them if they got to pay $100 a week for gas, and groceries are up like crazy. So I get it that you shouldn't be going after the money, but I do agree with Kim. Sometimes you just need to slow your roll, and calm the F down. Now, granted, we were talking about Kevin Samuels. I never heard of this man until he made the comment, which I didn't appreciate, saying that women over 35 are called, who are unmarried, are called leftover women. Now, again, what Kim was saying, everybody heard from this man. I ain't heard none of this Negro, okay? Until I heard that. And then when he died or supposedly died, everybody named Mama was so happy. Now, here's another thing. Let me be clear. There are people that we not gonna like. I mean, I have a whole list. Okay. There are 2 people I can name right off the top of my head, but I won't. Everybody is gonna live as we are. We're breathing right now, but everybody gonna expire, which means we're gonna become spirit. I think it's not cool when people are just so giddy, and that kind of bothered me too, that they were so giddy that this man is dead. Now, you may not like people, what they say, but he had a mother. He has a mother. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, she had to find out about her son's passing in a very
on social media,
in a public way. I have a nugget for all this. It's going to tie everything together. Y'all, let's be kind. Let's be, let's have, as my girlfriend, Mrs. Kearns said, let's have empathy. Mm-hmm. Just one day, y'all, and I mean this, you're going to have an experience where you're going to hope, you're going to wish, and you're going to pray that somebody is kind and empathic to you.
All right.
So we're in spring now. All the trees are blooming. Birds are chirping. Flowers are coming up. It's time now. This is a time renewal. Renew your spirit to be kind, to have more empathy. The world needs it now, more so than ever.
More so than ever.
Especially on the other side, we talk about Ukraine. It's time now. And we can do this. We must do better. We have to do better. Because what's going to happen if you don't learn the lesson of not being empathic and having kindness? Guess what? You're going to have situations and experiences in your life until you get it.
Yeah. It's the things that people were saying about Kevin Samuels. I get it. I get it. But don't be in the gutter with someone else. Don't allow someone else to take you to the gutter.
No.
Excuse me. Don't allow someone else to take you to the gutter with them. God will deal with people. Don't you play God. So may he rest in peace. May he find peace on the other side. God bless his family, his mother, his family members here in Oklahoma and around the country. And hopefully people can learn from this. Do we have any other go ahead.
Well, I wanted to mention, expound upon Stroke Awareness Month, because, one, to see your mom continue to thrive after a stroke, it's just inspiring to me. Well, a lot of people don't know. Well, most of you know that my mom is now spirit, but when she was here, she went through some stuff, and she went through 2 strokes, and one I happened to witness literally while she was in assisted living facility, and that's a candid topic we'll talk about much later. But I really want to talk about, for those this is something, this is a condition that happens too often in the Black community. As Kim mentioned, her mom had a stroke. My mom had two. My nana had one. My maternal great aunt had one. And so, with that being said, y'all, what do you think I think about myself that I have to be aware of? So this is not only this is a show that we inspire, but we also try to educate. So as May is Stroke Awareness Month, here's some signs that you know that you may be having a stroke. And think of the acronym, as I love acronyms. FAST. F. Facial drooping. If you notice someone whose face is drooping, that pretty much will tell you they may be having a type of event. A. Arm weakness, because it can happen just as quick as this. S. Speech difficulties. As people are talking, if their speech is starting to slur, that could be an indicator. And then time. If you see you or a loved one that's experiencing those aforementioned symptoms, call 911 fast. The quicker that someone can get help, the easier it will be for them to recover. So as we continue celebrating May, be aware of your surroundings, but also be aware of people who may be experiencing these symptoms. And guess what, y'all? Stroke doesn't happen to the elderly. It can happen to people who are younger than you.
Yeah, so I've known
cautious of that.
Yeah, one of my brother's childhood friends, I just found out he had a stroke last year. I remember the barbershop that I used to go to in DC, a young man had a stroke. He was 28 years old. And it debilitated him, so he couldn't cut hair anymore. The other thing is, I think that has really helped my mother. Her and my father are more active than their daughter is. They were doing this before mom had the stroke. They go to the gym about 5 or 6 times a week. Wonderful. And swim. My mother's in aqua aerobics. What I think happened with her stroke was she had flown here to see my nephew play football. Then she flew to Chicago, where they're from, to see friends. And they say in those flights, and then she flew back to Arizona. They say in those long flights, especially those flights going overseas, to walk. That's why you see people walking.
Absolutely.
Because what happens is if you're that's why they move your legs when you are in a coma. Right. Because what happens is you can develop clots in your legs and they can move through your brain and your heart. Right. So when you're on those long flights, or even when you're working, I have to remind myself when I'm working on a project.
Or driving on, because when I travel, I wear compression socks for that very reason.
Right.
So and here's the deal for those who like numbers. Let me give you some stats about stroke. A stroke happens every 40 seconds, accounting for 1 of 19 deaths. So remember, stroke is the leading cause of death and serious disability worldwide. So again, we'll probably be talking about this and next time we come back, but just be aware of strokes. And it really is prevalent, unfortunately, in the Black community and especially in women. So even though it is Mother's Day, you check on your mom, check on that woman who was given a maternal influence. But, as I said earlier, for me, I have to be mindful because unfortunately, when they, that saying it runs in the family, well, in my case, it does. And I have to just be very cognizant of that.
Yeah. So I'd like to get candid. Do we have any other hot topics before?
What we cannot forget to talk about Dave Chappelle. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for those who didn't know, Dave Chappelle, he was doing his thing in the Hollywood Bowl earlier this week, and some person had the nerve to get on the stage and try to beat him down. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I give him credit for even trying to do it, because when they got him, I heard that Jamie Foxx and I think Busta Rhymes, they gave him a beat down like nobody's business. And of course, this is stemming from, as we all know, what happened on Oscar night. But also, I believe, as I've said this before, that folks have some serious COVID brain where they're doing some bat snit craziness.
Well, I'm
So
really surprised that security is not better at these
I
shows.
know.
That's kind of alarming. I remember during the campaign, presidential campaign, someone was able to rush on the stage for the
Hmm.
vice president. He
Hmm.
was the vice president at the time. Well, ex-vice president Biden. I know he didn't have
You mean Mike
Secret Service
Pence?
at the time because
You mean Mike
vice
Pence?
presidents
Right.
only get Secret Service a year after, unless they're dominant threats. Vice president only gets Secret Service until a year after they've been vice president. President
Really?
gets Secret Service for a
For
year,
life.
like unless they're viable threats, and a presidential candidate doesn't get Secret Service unless they're a viable threat. Like I think that President Obama, they gave him a Secret Service
From day one.
earlier than any other
Oh
person
yeah. Well,
in the
we know.
campaign.
You know why, right?
Yeah, because he was getting so many threats. And I
Right.
don't think at the time the vice president was getting, because it was early in the campaign, and Simone Sanders and somebody else dragged that person off the stage. And everybody was like, well, where's his Secret Service? He doesn't get Secret Service. But hold on one second. Let me stop for a second. We are now going to have the first African American LGBTQ a press secretary in the White House.
Woohoo!
John Pierre, a
Yes.
beautiful sister
Yes, she
who
is.
is gay, who has a partner, Suzanne Malveaux, which I didn't know,
I ain't
and they
either.
have a daughter.
I didn't know that
Um,
either.
I've had the pleasure of meeting her very briefly, just hello, very nice, humble, very smart. You can look at her resume. She was been a spokesperson. She was in the Obama administration. She was in on she was a part of Vice President Kamala Harris's team when they were campaigning. She has risen up the ranks. It's I'm going to watch the press briefings now every day. I know the nerd that I am, just to see her shine. So I know that that was a pivot, but I just wanted to. I had
Good
forgotten
pivot.
about that, Kay.
A good pivot. No, we need to mention that because
Yeah.
that is unprecedented. And again, and it's sad to say we're in 2022 and we have to announce these things, but it's
Hmm.
okay because
Still making history.
that's it.
Still making
That's it.
history.
So
Still making history. Go
you
ahead.
ready to get candid now?
Yeah.
All
Did you
right.
have one?
Well, before you get candid, I really, as Mother's Day weekend, I would be remiss if I did not honor the women in my life. My nana, well, let me just start. My great nana, my maternal great grandmother, Mrs. Lavinia Ridgway, who bore my beautiful nana, Mrs. Naomi Ridgway Hudson, and who bore the one and only Mrs. Claristine Mason, who bore yours truly. And even though all these women, among a few others that are still our spirit, but one I want to definitely say Happy Mother's Day to, even though I talked to her yesterday, and I'll see her next week, who is my godmother. I'm so grateful and blessed to have one more godmother, and that's Mrs. Baker, Mrs. Annie Baker. I am so grateful to my mom, who was my first teacher, who was just beautiful in spirit, intelligent, the best cook in the Midwest. And she gave me these lessons that I stand right now. She married the love of her life, my father. They were married for 47 years. She taught me just to be strong, even though at times when you can't feel strength. And a lot of people have said to me, Karen, I've never seen someone as strong as you. And I got that not only from my grandmother, my nana, but also my mom. And the one thing too that I enjoy is the fact that my mom had the most beautiful smile. Just bright up a room. And if for those who follow me on social media, I have posted all throughout social media a photo of my mother and me side by side. And
You look just like her. Yeah.
OMG.
Yeah.
That is your twin. I said,
Yeah.
amen to that. Thank God. Because here's the thing, I'm going to say this. One of my aunts on the other side of the family had the nerve to tell me at 8 years old I was adopted. And I remember telling my mother that, Claire Steve was not happy about that. She used language that we try not to use on this show.
Oh
They will
gosh.
never believe that, and showed me, literally took her clothes off to show me the the cut, because I was a preemie and I had to be. She had a cesarean when I was born. She said, "This is why you came from me, God. Don't you ever?" She just went off. And I can see when I saw your mom. I could see my mom in her as well. That strength. That's that being stubborn at times, but also just loving. And that's what my mom was. She was all about love. So as we continue to honor Mother's Day, Mommy, I love you. I bless you, and I appreciate you. I'm so grateful to God that you came this way, and I hope that I will continue to do you proud and to be your legacy.
Mm-hmm. Happy Mother's Day, Heavenly Mother's Day to your mom who birthed a wonderful person. I could never have imagined over a year and a half ago that I would meet someone through our show and that we would become BFFs. And it's just amazing. This pandemic was very difficult for me, but it also, some blessings came out of it. And you have been one of those blessings, and I know you do your mother proud. So we are BFFs for life. Met over the internet, only met once, but I'm still waiting on my sweet potato pie.
It's coming, God dog. It just
Like I
give me
need,
a moment.
like I need another reason to eat. But I will say that I have this Apple Watch here where you have goals of exercise. So I'm
All
in a
right
group
now.
that holds me accountable. I met my exercise goals 5 times this week. So
Yay.
and I ate right. I drank my water. I minded my business, as the
All
kids
right.
say. So
Very
I'm
good.
doing good. I want to get candid for a moment
Please do.
about this ruling that may come from the Supreme Court. I'm sorry I didn't have that up earlier, from the Supreme Court about Roe v. Wade. As many of you know, there was a leak in the Supreme Court, which is very unusual. It was penned by Justice Alito that the court is getting ready to rule against Roe, the 1972 case of Roe versus Wade, which basically gives a woman a right to terminate her pregnancy most of the time in the first trimester of her pregnancy. As many of you know, this has been ongoing, especially in the last year and a half, because the Supreme Court is now 5-3-6-3, more conservative than it has been. And so this is where we are now, that a court case that many people have lived under is now under attack. What is interesting about this case is that it may not only affect Roe v. Wade, it may also affect same-sex marriage,
Yes. Yes.
affirmative action cases.
Yes. Yes.
So you may not be a woman that can birth, but it may affect other areas of your life
That's
or
right.
your family's life. But let me just say this. Conservatives has been putting this, you got to give credit where credit is due. Conservatives has been pushing this for the last 50 years and putting things in place so that this could happen. While the left has been distracted by stupid stuff. What do I mean by stupid? When Al Gore ran in the 2000 election, the narrative was that he was boring. At the time, Al Gore was the most qualified person since LBJ to be in that seat. He also got the most popular votes. But because the governor of Florida was Jeb Bush, George W. Bush's brother, it went to George W. Bush, who I believe had 2 Supreme Court nominees.
Yep.
So then we go to President Obama. Now, there was a narrative going on about him. Wasn't black enough. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
There was a narrative, but somehow he got over the line. But while he went up, he got nominated twice. He picked, was it two Supreme Court justices?
Elaine Kagan,
Sotomayor.
Sonia Sotomayor. That's right.
Right. Now, he also had another person by the name of Gorsuch,
Neil Gorsuch.
who
That's
is
right.
now over the Department of Justice.
Yes.
So what the right did, they made sure if you hear that siren in the back, that's just a test. They made sure that the Senate was stacked so that Gorsuch could not go, that nomination could not go forward. Many people blame Ruth Bader Ginsburg for not retiring, but we should have come out to vote in those midterm elections so that Obama could have picked Gorsuch and he would have gone on to be on the Supreme Court.
Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland. That's who it was.
I'm sorry.
Merrick Garland. Right. That's okay.
So then we get to 2016. And Miss Hillary Clinton, who was the most qualified person, as President Obama said, more qualified than him, as he said, Bill, and pretty much anybody else since LBJ or Al Gore.
That's right.
To be qualified president. So what were people saying? And I remember this very vividly. And this is to some of you Black people. She called drug dealers predators in the 90s. Bill had the three strikes law out. The other narrative was voting for her was the same thing as voting for Trump. I heard Colin Kaepernick say that, and some popular bloggers say it too.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was, seems like Putin and some of his minions were pouring this into the narrative. First of all, Hillary Clinton may have said predators, but the people that she was talking about, some of you all wouldn't have in your home for dinner. The three strikes law that Clinton talked about, well, guess who pushed that? The Black Caucus and mayors of cities where crack was taken over and people were getting killed in record numbers. So it wasn't just the Clintons that were pushing this. It was the Black Caucus and other Black people. So let's be clear. Yeah, she did say predators. Some of those people were predators. People may not like me saying that, and I'm talking about some people in my own family. And I really don't care because these people were predators selling drugs to kids. Okay? So Hillary was right. And then they want to have the narratives or emails. And Hillary told you all, this man will get a record number of Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court. And how many did he get? 3. So now, because as the kids say, we were petty, this is where we are. The conservatives have done exactly what they were supposed to do. They stuck to the narrative, got their people out to vote, elected those. Why did people put up with Trump's mess, grabbing them by the pussy and all of these other things? Because their eyes was on the Supreme Court. While we were dealing with pettiness, email, and stuff like that.
And look where we are right now.
You have to understand how this thing works. If we don't come out in the midterms this fall and another Supreme Court justice leaves, that means that Biden can elect someone and the Senate can stop it. And Mitch McConnell has already said he will. So I know that Biden has not done everything that we want him to do. I understand that. But you have to look at the bigger picture here. And I hope we do. And I'm done.
And on that note, we're going to end our show with a nugget. As I said, this nugget will tie everything that we've talked about, and it's about kindness, because kindness will take you further than hatred will ever will. So as we continue to honor, to commemorate, to celebrate the female influence that you've called mom, y'all just be kind. Just be kind. Kindness can get you farther than hate ever will. And I'm just really, on this beautiful Saturday, again, we just thank, our lovely guests, Mrs. Keisha Kearns and Mrs. Marietta Coleman, Kim's mommy. I love it. Kim's mommy for gracing us with their presence, with their advice, with their insight, with their love. And we want to wish all mothers a very happy and blessed Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. If you want to get more of Kieran's nuggets, please subscribe to her site, which you see the link right there. She also look at her on Facebook and Instagram, and
And
get those
TikTok.
nuggets every day to help you move forward.
Yes.
Also, please subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube channel. We're trying to get those numbers up, so please subscribe to that. We continue to keep everyone in prayer. We know that these are difficult times. If you need help, please try to get help. We need you here. Hezekiah Walker has a song. It's called I Need You to Survive. I
Yes.
love you. You
You
love me.
love
We're all a part of God's family.
family.
Stand with me. Agree with me. We are all a part of God's body. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive.
Yes.
On that note, we'll see you next Saturday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Happy Mother's Day, guys.
Happy
Bye.
Mother's Day. Bye.